Jagan is one of those manga that you read and you kind of just know it's never going to get an anime adaptation. For better or worse, that is. The content in this manga is utterly insane, bro. Like, it is actually batshit crazy, bro. For one, there is a lot of sex in this manga, okay? A lot of raw, uncensored coitus that I just definitely cannot show on YouTube. Jagan is gory, it's sexual, it's violent. No mainstream publisher in their right mind is ever gonna pick this shit up, bro. And so I decided to pick it up myself. So yeah, without any further ado, let's talk about Jagan and 𝙏𝙖𝙡𝙏𝙗𝙡. You might want to tap into this one, because listen, bro, the thing about Jagan is that the author of Blue Lock and the author of Jagan, yeah, they're the same person, so you know what I'm saying? Shout out, bro. All right, so Jagan takes place in a world not too different from our own, in modern day Japan to be exact, and we start off by meeting this cop, right? He's like patrolling the nighttime streets. Now this cop here, his name is Shintaro Jagasaki. He's basically like the MC of this whole shit, bro. We will be following the story of Shintaro Jagasaki throughout the remainder of this video. But anyway, Jagasaki is walking down the street, right? He lives in this city called Buppa City, and for some reason, first panel of the manga, I kid you not, this nigga is already tweaking, bro. Look, we got a grown-ass cop, bro, on patrol, on duty, singing a song about shooting niggas up. First panel of the manga. I don't think I need to explain why a law enforcement officer freestyling about shooting niggas up is a cause for concern, but anyway. Jagasaki pulls up on this group of teens, right, that's just outside being bad, bro, just disrupting the peace. It's nighttime, people trying to sleep, they're out here just causing a ruckus, bro. But Jagasaki pulls up on them and he's like, hey, bro, I'm getting noise complaints about y'all. I'm gonna have to ask y'all to go home. Now the teens, alright, they're not fucking with it, bro, and so they just start roasting this shit out of Jagasaki, just needlessly cooking my boy, bro. Now at first the kids were just like yapping, right, just popping out with some weak ass roasts that honestly weren't really affecting anybody. But then one of the kids, he hits a nerve, bro. He looks at Jagasaki dead in the eye and he's like, bro, swear to God, I never want to end up becoming someone like you, bro. Now up until now, okay, Jagasaki was pretty chill, bro, but I guess he just had enough of the disrespect or something, because out of nowhere, bro locks in, pulls the blicky up off his waist and just starts letting those revolver shells rip, bro, just blasting these innocent teenagers. It's like, nah, that would be crazy though. Turns out that violent outburst was low-key just a part of his imagination, and yeah, he didn't actually kill anybody. Again, very concerning that this immediately had murder on his mind the moment he was faced with slight opposition, but it is what it is, bro, I guess. Jagasaki tries to put on like this very creepy, unsettling smile to get along with the kids, but they call that creepy ass shit out ASAP and get right back to flaming his ass up. Essentially, Jagasaki makes himself look like a straight fool in front of these kids, and the last thing that he thinks to himself before he gets out of there is, oh, God damn, I want to shoot these niggas, bro. Fast forward a couple hours, and Jagasaki's at the police station getting that ass flamed up again. His fellow police officer is like, bro, damn Jagasaki, you couldn't even get some weak ass kids off the street? Bro, you suck at this shit, bro. You're an idiot. And Jagasaki's like, hey, bro, what you call me? And Unk stands on it, bro. He's like, I called you an idiot, bro. What's up? Meanwhile, right, the door opens behind them, and in walks another one of their co-workers, a lady named Rose. Now, Rose walks in, and she just starts pressing these two dork ass niggas, bro. She's like, bro, y'all play too much. Why are y'all in here laughing on the job, bro? Lock in. Now, Rose, I'm not gonna cap, Rose is bad as hell, all right? I think we can all see that. Like, if I was Jagasaki, I would have been locked in, bro, but it turns out Jagasaki has a girlfriend. Rose actually asks him about his girlfriend, and the other co-worker chimes in like, yeah, man, like, you know, how are y'all doing? Like, shouldn't y'all be tying the knot soon? Jagasaki's like 27, by the way, right? So like, he's getting to that age where like a lot of people are getting married or like getting pressure to get married and have kids and whatnot. But yeah, they're asking him about when he's gonna put a ring on it, and he's kind of just like, you know, tiptoeing around the question or whatever. And so Rose, you know what I mean, she sees he's kind of avoiding the question, and so she just presses my boy. She's like, bro, if you're not serious about this relationship, just end it, bro. And of course Jagasaki just puts on that fake ass smile again, bro, you know, just looking real dumb, bro. I feel like Jagasaki at this point is low-key just a smoke ducker, bro, because every time he gets pressed in any capacity, he kind of just puts on that fake ass smile and keeps it pushing, bro. Whether it's the kids from earlier, whether it's Unk, whether it's Rose, over the course of just a few pages, we've seen Jagasaki fold on business like 3 separate times, bro. And let me just tell y'all right now, the worst fold has yet to come. Fast forward again, and now we're at Jagasaki's apartment. All right, look, y'all, I'm gonna just put this out there right now. I'm with Rose, bro, because why Jagasaki has not wiped this woman up yet is completely and utterly beyond me, bro. Like, golly, bro. This is Jagasaki's girl, by the way, in case you couldn't tell. But yeah, Jagasaki gets home and his girl is like low-key on the same type of timing that Rose and Unk were just on, and she's like, hey, like, you know, welcome home from work, blah, blah, blah. No pressure, but like, you know, when are you gonna meet my parents? And at this point, it's revealed to us that Jagasaki is simply not on that type of timing, bro. Like, this is not the face of a man who's trying to get married, bro. He looks miserable, bro. He looks demonic. Why he's with this woman if he reacts like this is, again, beyond me. But once again, our boy folds on business and basically just lies to his girl with that fake ass smile talking about, oh yeah, I'd love to meet your parents. Cap, obviously, but they end up having sex in very explicit detail that I am 100% most definitely not allowed to show on YouTube. But fast forward to after they do their thing, Jagasaki is in bed imagining his life play out with this woman, and he's just not feeling it, bro. Like, he literally starts tweaking, bro. He literally starts screaming into his pillow saying that the life that he just imagined was, and I quote, lame as fuck. And then out of nowhere, he kind of just starts freestyling again. Like, somehow this man has murder on his mind. Again, he thinks back to the teens from earlier, and he imagines blasting them. He thinks back to Unk, and he imagines blasting him. He thinks back to Rose, and he imagines blasting her. He thinks about his girl. Yeah, bro, like this dude needs some serious help. But let's take a break and talk about frogs for a second. Do you like frogs? I like frogs, bro. Like, me personally, I rock with frogs. Frogs just genuinely be chilling, bro. Like, they might be top 5 creatures in the whole animal kingdom. But look, bro, as much as I rock with frogs, if it started raining fucking frogs, bro, thousands of frogs with human hands and feet, I promise you, that'll be the last day y'all ever see me, bro. I will never step outside again, bro. So luckily, I'm not in Jagan verse, bro, because yeah, that's exactly what happened. This is obviously going to be important later. Fast forward to Jagasaki though. He's back on duty, back in the mix, back in his cop grind. And for the first time in the whole series, we might be witnessing a rare Jagasaki W. I guess he's working the subway this shift, and like while he's down at the train station, he runs into like this drunk salaryman who's kind of fed up with life. Basically, the dude is kind of depressed because he's working his hardest and he feels like no one in his life respects him, which, to be fair, is actually really depressing when you think about it. Now, Jagasaki, his first reaction to seeing this, he's just like, damn, if my life was like this, I'd just delete my whole save file with this revolver. But despite his concerning thoughts, he actually decides to give the man a pep talk and like encourages him to go to work. Now, the man kind of like, you know, stumbles onto the train, and Jagasaki and Unk kind of follow him, I guess to make sure he doesn't cause any trouble because, you know, he's drunk. Oh yeah, Unk is on shift with Jagasaki too, by the way. But anyway, they're on the train, right? And everything's cool until Jagasaki notices this random goddamn owl with like a pair of old school pilot goggles on. And Jagasaki, he's looking at this owl. He's like, bro, what is this owl doing here, bro? But he's cut off by some dude just screaming on the other end of the train. Now, come to find out, the dude screaming is like some businessman, and he's screaming at like presumably one of his employees, like maybe a contractor or a consultant or something. But he's over here screaming at this, causing mad disruption and shit. And so Officer Jagasaki pulls up with that fake ass smile, and he's like, hey bro, you trying to like relax a little bit? Like you're being kind of loud right now. And of course Unk lame ass is ducking smoke talking about, bro, just let it go, bro. But for once, all right, Jagasaki starts letting his nuts hang, bro. He's like, look, I'm gonna need you to chill, bro. There's other people riding this train. You're disturbing the peace. Now, of course, it's Jagasaki, right? So whole time he's in his head like, damn, I want to shoot this nigga. But at least he keeps his composure on the outside. The same cannot be said, however, for the businessman who just starts genuinely tweaking, bro. And like, okay, I know manga tends to have exaggerated facial features and whatnot, but Jagan artistically has a relatively realistic art style. And so when the businessman started looking like this, I knew something absolutely obscene was about to go down, bro. This nigga's body starts contorting, bro. He starts growing mouths inside of his mouth and then other mouths inside of those mouths on some real vile shit. And Jagasaki are just looking at this nigga like, bro, what? And now at this point, all right, the consultant dude knows he's fucked up, bro. Like, he's cooked, bro. He tries to like apologize for something, but before he can even say anything, he gets his whole dome sliced into 4 pieces like a personal pan pizza, bro. rest in peace. But as for the businessman, yeah, he's not a businessman no more, bro. He's a whole creature, bro, a whole freakazoid. Now immediately, and rightfully so to be fair, the passengers on this train start freaking out, bro, and the fractured boss, he starts like swinging his tongue around and like slicing people up. Like he starts catching bodies left and right, and whole time while he's catching bodies, he's just flexing random shit from his resume, talking about, I own 5 rental properties, I make 180K per year, all you is broke as hell to me. Which, like, don't get me wrong, right? 180K is definitely good money. I'll give credit where credit is due. 180K is like well over median household income here in the US. But look, I'm gonna just keep it a whole buck right now. 180K is nothing to be doing all this over, bro. Nothing to be killing people and acting demonic for, bro. I'ma just keep it a buck right now. You could have just done a money spread on them and called it a day, but nah, you had to get all extra, bro. Unk tries to shoot this nigga, but he's not fast enough, bro. Unk gets got, and so rest in peace to Unk. Jagasaki sees Unk get decapitated and he's like, oh shit. So he pulls the gun off his waist and he tries to shoot him, but before he can even let that shit rip, he gets his fingers cut off, which is crazy to me, by the way, because bro was just talking shit, just having thoughts in his head about squeezing it at every random person a couple seconds ago. Now it's time to actually let it fly and he can't do nothing. Real crazy, bro. But at this point, Jagasaki starts seeing like his life flash before his eyes and he's just sitting there like, damn, bro. My whole shit was worthless. Like, my life was worthless. In his literal last thought, his final thought on earth, he wishes he could have shot at least one person in his lifetime, which is a crazy thought, by the way, but I guess it did him some good, because out of nowhere, a big ass laser beam blasts out of his decapitated fingers and into the fractured boss. The laser then proceeds to swell up in fractured boss's stomach like a Rasengan before exploding the boss into a million pieces of blood and guts strewn all about the train. Jagasaki looks down at his hand because, like, what the he just shot it with his fingers, and what he sees looking back at him is like this weird scaly finger gun looking thing. And before he even has time to really process this, here comes that random owl from earlier talking about, hey man, nice shot. Like, bro, what the f? Now Jagasaki, like myself, is looking at this owl like, did I just catch you talking? But before the owl could respond, a little frog hops out the fractured boss's corpse. The owl then proceeds to catch the frog before it can escape, and he starts like eating that raw, bro. No seasoning. He looks up at Jagasaki mid-chomp and he's like, hey bro, my name is Doku-chan, by the way. Like, just mad casual. And of course Jagasaki is still shook from the whole experience, but Doku-chan just starts lore dumping on Jagasaki about what's going on right now. And so I'm gonna just give y'all a Spark Notes version of what he said. Basically, the frogs that fell out the sky are called frenzied frogs, and when frenzied frogs fuse with the human host, they transform that human into a beast that's based off the host's deepest desires. So like, for example, if a frenzied frog got into me right now, pause, I would turn into a beast based off of you liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Doku then proceeds to start yapping on about how Jagasaki is the chosen one and how, like, Doku is his chosen companion. But Jagasaki does not give a fuck about none of that shit right now, bro. And so he blasts Doku-chan dead in the face and gets up and gets out of that train. And honestly, bro, I can't even blame him for that course of action, bro, because a talking owl, bruh, nah, bro, you're catching these finger bullets. Fast forward a bit and we're back at Jagasaki's apartment, right? Jagasaki comes home, shook his shit from everything that just happened, and his girl notices, right? So she's like, bro, like, you good? Again, the fact that Jagasaki is fumbling this is insane to me, but I guess he's got bigger fish to fry right now, so I'll cut him some slack, I guess. Anyway, while his girl gets to making dinner, Jagasaki is just like sitting there, right? Trying to process what the hell is going on. Like, what the hell just happened? He looks at his hand, it's still like transformed, and he starts thinking about like Parasite the Maxim, which another peak series, by the way. W reference, okay? But as he's busy looking at his hand, he notices that another frenzied frog has popped up. Now, me personally, I'm letting that handgun rip the moment I see that ugly ass amphibian sitting around my home, bruh. But Jagasaki the Fumbler does what he does best. He folds. The frog proceeds to hop across the room, unperturbed, unguarded, into the kitchen, and it implants itself into his girl's neck. Yeah, you can probably see where this is going, and Jagasaki most definitely could too. So they sit down to eat dinner, right? And his girlfriend, her name is Yuriko, by the way. Yuriko starts talking about their future together again. She starts off chill, right? Like, they're just eating their udon, and Yuriko talks about, like, you know, how she thinks she wants kids and whatnot. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna play a little game real quick, okay? What do you think Jagasaki does in this situation? Does he, A, listen to his girl while she's, you know, explaining her feelings about pregnancy, thus reassuring her that he actually cares? Or does he, B, fumble the bag. Oh damn, I didn't know you wanted kids like that. Now at this point, Yuriko is mad, right? And not only is she mad, she's mad while having just been infected with a frenzied frog. Now looking back, right? It's not confirmed whether or not a fractured human transformation can be stopped once it started. It probably can't, to be honest, but I like to think that Yuriko could have been saved if Jagasaki had just locked in at this very moment and reassured her. But nah, bro, Jagasaki just started stacking fumbles on top of fumbles, talking about, hey bro, no need for a meltdown. And so of course, Yuriko gets mad, she gets heated, and she transforms into a fractured human, particularly the fractured girlfriend, his scorpion. Yeah, so quick side note about the fractured human names, they're all corny as hell, okay? Like, I think that it's probably like some translation shit where the pun doesn't translate the way it's supposed to from Japanese to English. Y'all know how it be with anime sometimes with puns and jokes, but yeah, I just wanted to put that out there right now, alright? I can't control how these names sound, bro. Jagasaki gets attacked by his fractured girlfriend, and it's actually low-key sad, dog, because you could tell that in her head, bro, she's really just a woman who was unsure about her future and just wanted some reassurance. She slams this shit, right? I guess she got like fractured human super strength or something, and now Jagasaki is in a sticky situation because his life is on the line, but he doesn't want to kill his girl, right? Y'all must have forgot who we're talking about, bruh. Jagasaki blasts this poor scorpion woman right in the stomach with no hesitation and no consternation whatsoever. And I'm not gonna lie, that is ever so slightly funny when you think about it, bro. Like, come on, bro. Let's just be entirely truthful and honest right now. We get a flashback about Jagasaki and Yuriko, sort of just like, you know, a little bit of context regarding their relationship, how they met, so on and so forth. We get a little sex scene because of course we do. Honestly, it just makes the whole situation sadder, bro, because when you look at this flashback, you could tell that these two genuinely cared about each other, bro. They just didn't know how to communicate their issues. It's like they were both afraid to upset the other person, and so Jagasaki started doing that fake smile bullshit to spare his girl's feelings. And yeah, I realized during this part also that you can actually tell he's fake smiling when he closes his eyes, because like in some parts of the flashback, he's with Yuriko and he's like genuinely happy, bro. I don't know, bro, but fast forward back to the present, right? Yuriko explodes into a million pieces until nothing but her head remains. And yeah, now look, I don't know if witnessing the death of his girl triggered something in his brain to lock in, but it's like from this point forward, Jagasaki suddenly gains empathy and just becomes a much more likable character overall. Yuriko's head like rolls on the ground in front of him, and the last thing that she does before dying is apologize for making Jagasaki have to put on fake smiles. So yeah, pretty sad shit, bro. The frenzied frog crawls out of her ear now that she's dead, and out of nowhere, Doku weird ass respawns at his window and proceeds to munch down on the frenzied frog like he did on the train, except this time after he eats it, he poops out like a little owl pellet, and he tells Jagasaki to take it, claiming that he'll be quote unquote addicted to them in no time. Now Jagasaki, he's gone through a lot today, bro, and so he's really not here for all of Doku's shit right now. Like literally his shit. He's trying to get him to take a little dung ball. But yeah, Jagasaki basically crashes out and he's like, bro, fix my arm, bring my girl back, or I'm gonna kill you, bro. Again, and he's like holding the gun up to Doku's face, and Doku looks at him like, bro, what do you mean fix your arm? You wanted that arm, didn't you? And Jagasaki's like, bro, what? And Doku's like, yeah, bro, you asked for that arm, bro. You're a fractured human, and that was your desire. Doku proceeds to yap on about fractured humans and other logistical stuff, and Jagasaki just isn't listening, bro. He's like, look, bro, I didn't come here to yap, bro. Give me my girl back. And he tries to shoot Doku, but Doku weaves his shit this time, and he's like, you shot her, bro, not me. And suddenly Jagasaki starts to get dizzy. Doku sees that Jagasaki is falling out, and he's like, oh shit, the takeover is speeding up. And so we like flash down to Jagasaki, who for sure is starting to transform, like you can see it in his face, and Doku basically explains the situation. Come to find out, Jagasaki was actually infected not with a frenzied frog, but a frenzied tadpole, and so that's why he can like kind of keep his bearings about himself despite being a fractured human. However, okay, and that's a big however, despite the fact that he just has a tadpole, the tadpole is constantly going to be trying to grow into a frog, which would, you know, in turn transform Jagasaki into a full-scale fractured human with no sort of cognizance, right? Now there's only one way they can avoid this outcome, okay? And as Doku is explaining this, he rolls the little ball up to Jagasaki and he's like, hit this bro. And Jagasaki hits that like it's coke or something, and he starts seeing crazy hallucinations about his girl and like this little mascot shooting her. And as he's having these hallucinations, he's like apologizing to her for how things ended up. Now at this point, Jagasaki is high as shit off the literal shit balls, but regardless of that, Doku keeps yapping about the logistics of the situation. Every time Jagasaki uses his fracture powers, the transformation will hasten, meaning that he'll need more dung balls to keep him human. This means, you know, in order to get more dung balls, he'll need to collect more frogs, and in order to collect more frogs, he'll have to kill more fractured humans. You kind of see where this is going, bro? Collect all the frenzied frogs scattered throughout the world. Once you've gathered all the dung balls, your fight will be over. In order to blow away your stiff, boring, and depressing future, your right arm has become a gun, Jagasaki. And since you're a botched half-fractured human, we'll call you the Fractured Human Warrior, Jagan. And for the first time in this whole story, our boy Jagasaki finally looks locked in. The next day, the situation that happened on the subway is all over the news and shit, right? Since Unk is, well, dead, Jagasaki is paired up with Rose, who just so happens to be changing for whatever reason. Like, it's anime logic, bro. We just gonna let it slide. But fast forward to the end of the day, Jagasaki puts his girl's head in the freezer for storage, I guess. And even Doku's over here watching him, bro. Like, bro, what the hell are you doing, bro? If you don't toss that shit out. But Jagasaki, he just can't bring himself to get rid of it, bro. And so I guess for the time being, he's just gonna be storing his dead girl's head next to the tub of Ben and Jerry's in his freezer. Like, that's low-key crazy, bro. Imagine you go to his crib, right? Imagine you go to his crib and you want some frozen waffles or... Never mind, bro. Jagasaki starts getting dressed for this special occasion that he has to go to, and as he's doing so, he's like talking to Doku about the number of frogs he'll have to collect. Doku predicts like 1 to 2,000, but honestly, he doesn't even know, bro. So like, take that number, that digit, that info with a grain of salt. Fast forward a bit, and Jagasaki pulls up at a wedding, which is definitely ironic considering the events of last night, but come to find out, it's his homie's wedding. And so I guess Jagasaki wanted to be W-mans and pop out for the wedding despite not having a date for reasons I don't think I need to elaborate on. Everything's going cool at the wedding and whatnot. Everyone's kind of just, you know, celebrating the occasion, getting tipsy and shit, until the groom, aka Jagasaki's homie, is like, hey bro, like, don't you got a girl, Jagasaki? Like, where's she at, bro? Here come Jagasaki lying ass with that closed eye smile. Oh yeah, we're living together. Now, I guess Capri must secretly activate Jagasaki's powers or something, because the moment he starts lying about the status of his girl, his hand starts acting up. Like, the little scales start growing out of it and whatnot. Obviously, he doesn't want to be seen transforming into a half-monster gunman in the middle of a public wedding reception, and so he runs off to the bathroom to try to, like, deal with his hand in there. Figure out what's going on, you know? So Jagasaki's in the bathroom trying to deal with his hand. He's trying to wash his with soap and warm water, like that's gonna do anything. But he's in there, you know, trying to deal with this hand ordeal, when suddenly, out of nowhere, a shady looking dude pops up from behind one of the doors, and he's like, hey man, you alright? Now this dude, his name is Roba-chan, right? And for a second, I'm gonna pause the story to talk about Roba-chan, because yeah, we got to talk about Roba-chan. So Roba goes on to be a moderately relevant character throughout the course of this story. He goes on to kind of be like a side villain in the first arc. I'm not going to be covering his story on this channel, and it's for multiple reasons. For one, his story is almost isolated from the primary narrative. Like, this conversation he has with Jagasaki in the bathroom is one of the only times these two characters interact, which on its own, you know, wouldn't necessarily be a reason for me to discount his story. I like side stories. I like learning more about the world outside of the purview of the main character. However, Roba-chan, he goes on to become a fractured human, and more of a villainous one at that. And Roba-chan is an incel who becomes a fractured human based on his desires. Essentially, for me to tell his story in its entirety would greatly put this channel into jeopardy, bro. Roba-chan's story contains a lot of very graphic and uncomfortable themes, and not that I think that, you know, stories shouldn't cover uncomfortable themes. I think it does take a certain level of artistic integrity to represent something as vile as Roba-chan and not pull any punches, but at the same time, it at points makes me genuinely uncomfortable to read. Like, I've never dropped a series before due to, you know, being uncomfortable or not liking something, like being triggered, quote unquote. But the first time I tried to read this story back in high school, I actually had to drop it because of 𝙏𝙖𝙡𝙠. Again, I'm talking around the issue here, but you can probably put 2 + 2 together by now. So I'm going to be just skipping all the 𝙏𝙖𝙡𝙠 stuff throughout my coverage of the story. But yeah, for those of y'all who might go on to read the manga yourselves, take this as your official unofficial trigger warning, bro. This shit gets vile, bro, like really vile, and we're just gonna leave that at that. Jagasaki finishes talking to Roba, right, and by the time their conversation is over, his hand is back to normal. And so now that he's back to normal, he decides to, you know, head back out to the reception. So we cut to the bride and groom, and you know, they're having a good time, being all lovey-dovey and whatnot, and they're getting ready to like go out on stage in front of like all the attendees, right, all the people who came to see the wedding. And at first, you know, everything's cool. These two are like genuinely in love, bro. Especially the bride. She was just overwhelmed with happiness. And I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of refreshing to see after having witnessed the fiasco that was Jagasaki's relationship. But of course, niggas can't have nothing nice, bro. And so lo and behold, the bride secretly had a frog in her, and the overwhelming sense of joy that she was feeling due to her wedding was the perfect catalyst for a fractured human transformation. And so when the curtain finally opens up, niggas see the most vicious shit they have ever seen in their life, bro. This lady done went ahead and transformed into a fractured human, the fractured bride. So the fractured bride jumps off the stage and into the crowd, right? And she's just out there tweaking, bro, literally high on happiness. And in case you couldn't tell by now, she like killed her husband. And so again, very tragic situation that we're dealing with here, especially considering the fact that this time around, the tragedy literally arose as the result of overwhelmingly positive emotions. You know what I'm saying? But she's out in the crowd now, right? And she like starts shooting niggas with this shit that'll like latch onto the back of their head and then like pull their mouth open and force them to smile. And then after she hits you with that, she just stabs you dead in the gut, which like, I don't really know what that has to do with being a happy bride, but yeah, bro, I don't make the rules. Now, of course, our boy Jagasaki, he's tapped in, right? He's like the only person in here that really knows what's going on. And so he's like, bro, like, what do I do? Do I scrap? Do I run? He's basically frozen in fear. The whole time while Jagasaki's trying to figure out what type of timing he's on, the cursed bride is just wreaking havoc, bro, just murdering niggas left and right indiscriminately. Now Jagasaki at this point is still in a daze, bro. Like, I don't know what happened to his shoot first mentality that he had at the beginning of the story, but it's just not here in the room with us, right? And so he's standing there frozen in fear when suddenly this little kid pops up thinking that shit's a game, bro, thinking that this shit is Power Rangers or Teen Titans or some shit. The fractured bride like snaps her neck to look at this little badass kid, and she tries to shoot him with one of her little smiley things, but our boy Jagasaki finally locks in and he gets little bro up out the way, but not before getting hit with the smiley thing that was originally targeted at little bro. The momentum from the smiley thing causes Jagasaki to like crash into the wall behind him, and the fractured bride takes that opportunity to try to jump my boy, but Jagasaki's finally locked in now, bro, and so he uses his fractured arm to blast himself out of harm's way right before the fractured bride can shank his ass to kingdom come. So Jagasaki flies out the reception hall, right, and he lands in like this courtyard, and he's looking at his hand, and it's like transformed into like this Mega Man blaster, and Jagasaki's like, oh shit, like this is kind of tough, bro. I didn't know I can do all this. And look, I'm reading this, right, and I'm right there with him, bro. I'm like, oh shit, bro, I didn't know you can do all that shit either. Like, I thought he just had a little handgun or whatever, but nah, bro. Jagasaki's powers is low-key really built like that, bro. Like, he's low-key type OP. But anyway, the fractured bride made her way out to the courtyard, and she's like, you know, still out there catching bodies. And so Jagasaki aims the Mega Man blaster at her, and he's like, all right, bro, it's time for me to take her off the map. But there's an issue. You see, the fractured bride is kind of far away, right? And Jagasaki, he doesn't know if his aim is really like that yet, and so he's hesitating to let that thing rip. Now, this is when shit gets crazy, bro, because his arm is basically like, oh, you don't got that aim? All right, bet. And it transforms into a literal fucking sniper rifle with a scope. So Jagasaki's like, oh shit, I got a scope now? Say less. And he fucking one-shots fractured bride. Perfect aim right in the dome ski. Her head like swells up into this giant nasty looking mass before exploding into a bajillion pieces. And Jagasaki at this point is just feeling himself, bro. He's like, oh yeah, bro, I'm most definitely him. But then he catches himself in the middle of that thought, right? He's like, oh shit, bro, I'm tweaking. Like, I can't let these powers get to my head, because if I do, then I become a fractured human, bro. I'm no better than one of them. You can even see his face, right? Like, it's starting to transform and shit, bro. Like, the transformation is starting to take over a little bit. Luckily, okay, at this point, Doku-chan flies in and he's like, you know, he eats the frog. He gives Jagasaki his little dookie ball. And this time, when Jagasaki's tripping off the dookie flakes, he realizes that, for better or worse, the boring future that he was dreading just a couple days ago is no more, right? Like, he realizes that he now has the opportunity to lead the sort of life that he always envisioned for himself. And, you know, he thinks about his girl's head in the freezer and he's like, hey, bro, I can't turn back now. Like, I gotta lock in. He looks down at Doku-chan, who's on his arm, and he's like, you know what, bro? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna blow away every last fractured human. Cut to God knows where, and we're looking at this random tree dude staring at his hand with a big ass falcon perched up in the tree that's growing out of his back. And like Doku, this falcon can talk. Over the next couple days, Jagasaki's like going around the city sniping down fractured humans whenever they pop up. He's basically like on his vigilante shit, right? I think he's like low-key using his insider knowledge from being on the police force to like better know when incidents come up, you know what I'm saying? And he'll like swoop in and handle it before anyone really knows what's happening. So we cut to Jagasaki chilling at the police station, right? And he's just sitting there thinking about his life, bro. He's still pondering if what he's doing is actually a good thing. Like, he's questioning his situation, and you know, he's wondering about what will happen to him after he kills all the fractured humans. But then he gets distracted from his rare moment of introspection, and he just starts flashing back to the fight at the wedding, and all he can think to himself is, damn, it feels so good to shoot these niggas. While Jagasaki is busy, I don't know, indulging in his mental illness, Rose pulls up on him and she like places her hand against his and tells him that he has nice hands, seemingly out of nowhere. Jagasaki's like, oh, word, thanks. But then Rose changes the subject to the quote-unquote terrorist attacks that have been going around town lately. Basically, alright, most of the general public is writing off the fractured human incidents as terrorist attacks, but online, rumors are starting to go around about these monsters that are popping up in the city and causing havoc. Now, seeing this, right, hearing about all the fractured humans popping up, Jagasaki gets hype, right? He's like, let's go, I get to shoot niggas again. But Rose, you know, she catches him lacking while he's thinking this, and like, she sees him kind of fiending back there, and it kind of catches him off guard. And she just looks at him and she's like, Jagasaki, please don't die, bro, because if you did, I'd probably cry. And she's like blushing a little bit, and Jagasaki looks back down at her and he's like, yeah, I got you. And he's like, you know, he's blushing too or whatever. Fast forward a couple hours and Jagasaki's back at the crib. He's like, you know, researching the fractured human sightings, and Doku's asleep on his bed. And as Jagasaki is like looking at all these sightings, he gets to thinking again. He's like, bro, like, what is the point of all this? What happens after I kill all these fractures? And then suddenly Doku wakes up. Basically, every time Doku eats a frenzied frog, his brain like low-key installs some new information about the whole situation. Doku wakes up and he's like, hey, bro, you want to know what happens after you kill all the frogs? And Jagasaki's locked in now. He's like falling out of his chair and shit. And Doku's like, all right, look, after you kill all the frogs, kill yourself. And Jagasaki's like, bro, what? And Doku's like, yeah, bro, you got a frog inside of you, so you gotta kill yourself. And Jagasaki at this point, he starts tweaking a little bit. He's like, hold up, I gotta die? And Doku's like, yup, but after all the frogs are collected, I'll be able to create a single life, and we can use that single life to bring you back. And so Jagasaki hears this, right? And he's thinking for a second. He's like, so you can create one singular life? And Doku's like, yep, and they'll be immune to frenzied frogs. And Jagasaki hears this and he's like, all right, bet. In that case, I don't want you to revive me. I want you to revive Yuriko. And Doku's like, what? And Jagasaki's like, if my life can bring her back, then that means all of this shit that I'm doing won't be in vain. Now look, bro, I had my issues with Jagasaki in the beginning, I won't lie. But you can't tell me that's not W Mans right there. Like, if he actually follows through with his goal to bring Yuriko back, I'm not gonna lie, that's gotta be top 5 W Mans of all time, bro. And there's simply no denying it at this point. Like, W Jagasaki, bro. We fast forward to, you know, what's probably a couple weeks to a month in the future. And at this point, Jagasaki is getting a pretty decent amount of control over his powers. And so, you know, he's doing his vigilante shit. He's doing his cop shit. He's basically just living his life, bro. He's living his best life. He's being a cop and whatnot. And he runs into some teenagers. The same ones from the beginning of the story, bro, like at the beginning of the video. And of course, you know, they start roasting him again. And at first it looks like this nigga Jagasaki's about to tweak out, but instead he keeps his composure, bro. He literally just buys them some ice cream and he's just unaffected by their shenanigans. Basically, long story short, bro is living in his purpose now, and for that reason he's just a lot happier, right? Because he's fighting to bring back Yuriko, and yeah, he feels this sense of fulfillment in living a life that has a tangible purpose. Like he feels a sense of fulfillment in being a hero. Now Rose takes note of this new energy that he's moving with, and she's like, hey bro, did something good happen? Like, I never seen you like this before. You know, it's weird seeing you smile for real. And Jagasaki's just over there, you know, giggling to himself, just happy as Fast forward to that night, and Jagasaki's chilling at a playground, and he starts thinking to himself. He's like, bro, is this what omnipotence feels like? Like, I feel like I can rock anybody who steps to me right now. And he has like this flashback to when like he was a kid and he fought off some bullies, and come to find out, that feeling of strength and like that feeling of triumph that he had after beating those bullies is actually what led him to pursue law enforcement as a career. Now eventually, you know, as a police officer, he began to feel powerless again because his life just wasn't as cool as he wanted it to be, and that's kind of why he was depressed at the beginning of the story. But now he's looking at himself and he's like, bro, I'm really him. Like, no one can step to me right now. Out of nowhere, big ass tree man pops up from behind him talking about stand on that then. Jagasaki turns around to look at him, but by the time he's turned around, tree man got a mean ass right hook flying right in Jagasaki's direction, ready to tear that ass up. Pause. Jagasaki weaves out the way and like activates his gun to blast tree dude, but tree man's just like light work, and he catches Jagasaki's bullet out of midair. Now at this point, Jagasaki shook, right? He's never encountered a nigga that can hang with him for as long as he's been fractured. But before he could even think about what's happening, Tree Man wraps his ass up in a Hashirama wood prison and starts pressing him with his own bullet. Now these two are face to face, right? Tree Man got his legs wrapped around Jagasaki and he's like, hey Jagan, I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. And the wooden mask starts to like peel back, revealing his face. And he looks at this man Jagasaki, dead in the eyes, and he goes, you're not that guy, pal. You're not a hero.